because I didn't mute myself. Yep. Okay, so I'll just say again. Now you can hear me because I forgot to unmute myself. So if you can hear me, comment so that I know that, hey, there's sound now. I'm so happy that I forgot to turn on the mute. Okay, good. Me too, no audio. So I've turned on the audio because I'm running Zoom, and therefore I have unmuted my Zoom already. Yep, good. So Delia, thank you so much. Okay, at least one person acknowledged. Okay, awesome. So I want to actually start saying that other than sound now, I forgot to turn on the mute button, unmute button, so you can hear me now. Okay, so I was talking about coaching. I don't know why I wanted to do coaching as a topic this week. And a couple of things is because this week we have run a couple of events, virtual event heroes, stage closure heroes. Then last night was Guerrilla Business Online certification training. And then as usual, Sunday night, I'm always running a community service. Okay, so this one, people ask, like Gerald asked me, where's the link? Where's the link? There's actually no link. It's actually a Facebook Live. So if you are staying tuned with every Sunday, 9 p.m., unless that week I make an announcement that it's not available, then probably it is continuing all the way. So this is why my way, like some of you, like Gerald is watching, so Gerald, there's no link because I'm running a Facebook Live. So for those who are not familiar with my style, is I don't show my face every now and then, partly because you have watched a lot of Facebook Lives every single day from many people. As a blueprint and knowledge, I hate to run a Facebook Live just by pressing the live button. I don't like that. I like to give you framing. I will give you sufficient advance notice so that you know that 9 p.m. there's a Facebook Live, and I'm asking you, okay, what are the questions you have? So Gerald has kindly given me a list of questions, so I'm going to address that tonight. At the same time, I've got Arthur commenting saying that I want to learn. Kenneth say the same thing, I want to learn. So I don't know what you guys want to learn, but I will do my best. All right, so I want to start with the very first question. How many of you actually in this room consider yourself are coaches right now? So regardless of what's your definition of coaches or coaching, how many of you actually are coaches right now? You can comment on the chat, let me know. Okay, I'm patient waiting for that. Anyone consider yourself? If you are not a coach or you don't consider yourself a coach, also comment a no on the Facebook Live so that I know that you are not a coach. Okay, good. Delia is a coach. Yep. We just have been certified. Then Delia knows what I'm talking about. Okay, on the way. Okay, good. So if you are a coach, thank you. Thank you for acknowledging that. I'm going to talk about the, like Pei Yun talk about the different, ask the question, differences between mentorship, coaching, psychotherapy, and counseling. I'm going to address some of these issues later on. So how many of you have considered yourself a coach, and at the same time you have been coaching for more than 3 years? So if you, or maybe I ask another thing, like if you are a coach, you can actually comment like how many years have you been coaching? Oh yeah, Pei Yun. Yeah, Pei Yun's background is that straight in counseling. Awesome, thank you. And I just saw somebody who make an angry face. Is it by mistake? Because I haven't even started, and one person actually got angry. I hope that is a mistake. Okay, not to say that I don't like to have an angry face. I'm just checking. Okay, so you have seen that we have got a number of coaches. Okay, and the other question I want to ask is, how many of you actually are a coach because you have already been certified? You are a certified coach. Like I'm not concerned where you get your certification, but you have that piece of paper that says you are a coach. So in other words, the common thing in industry is you are a certified coach somehow, somewhere. Okay, it doesn't matter which organization you are from, doesn't matter. But the question is that, are you a certified coach? Because one of the questions that happen in the industry is people are checking, oh, are you a certified coach? There's a very interesting question, especially in Asia, because people will ask, like, are you certified? Like, certified by whom? How many years have you been certified? You've got a lot of all these questions in Asia. Okay, so it doesn't matter whether you're full-time or part-time or what. There's a very interesting question in many Facebook groups that talk about coaches. Are you a certified coach? Does coaching require a piece of paper like university education? So these are some of the things that I'm going to talk about this tonight. All right, so thank you for chiming in and thank you for commenting. Awesome. And let's start with the first thing. Coaching industry information. So in North America, coaching industry is a very popular industry. So I've just got these statistics that shows that in United States alone, in 2015, the coaching revenue or the coaching industry is a $9.55 million industry. Okay. And in 2016, it becomes $1 billion industry. Okay. And it is estimated, according to this research I've done, $1.34 billion by the end of 2022. The annual growth rate for the coaching industry is 6.7%, and that's from the North American statistics. Okay. Wow, Cindy so fast press replay already. I love that. Yeah, if you are watching replay somehow, hashtag replay. If you are not able to watch, I estimated that this Facebook Live will be an hour. Like when Jack says 1 hour, like I have done this last week and 2 weeks ago, 1 hour becomes 1 hour and 30 minutes. It doesn't matter. I do my best to finish it within an hour. Okay. So it is a very, very profitable industry in North America. And the problem that I see in Asia, in Singapore, in Malaysia, is that coaches basically are a very small industry. Quite a number of coaches I know are struggling. So how many of you consider yourself as struggling right now? Because the industry, when I first get into, I remember this story about the $250 per hour, and one person can charge, for example, $1,000 for 5 sessions. Okay, so this is something that I knew. And till today, I still heard story about some coaches are charging $50, $150 an hour. And coaching is really something that is great, and yet the competition is intense. So I want to talk about how you can design a coaching program. If you do not want to get the coaching program from someone, you want to design by yourself, I'm going to talk about this tonight. I want to actually start with this conversation about coaching. So thank you for all the comments coming in. So let's talk about the first thing. Let me do this. I'm going to share my screen. So tonight I'm running Zoom. So I'm going to use my iPad as a form of doing my Facebook Live tonight. I want to start with this question where Pei asked the differences between mentorship, trainer, coaches. Like you have heard of all these things, these terms. I want to talk about this first. So if you follow Blessinger's work, how many of you follow Blessinger's work? You know Blair actually talk about this thing called, okay, let me just put this into perspective. Okay, so last week I also talked about this, the leaders. Teachers are leaders. Okay, so Blair, if you've been to Blessinger's course, typically flip chart number 1, he will talk about teachers are leaders. And especially during COVID-19 or pandemic, or whatever you call this, it is the time where the leaders step up, or leaders have to step up. So if you have been to my Facebook Live last week, I talk about leaders, how to lead the team and become a leader in your own right. So now I want to get extension of leaders in our coaching industry. So this is another thing perhaps you may not have seen before. Let me just go walk you through. Coaching. Coaching is not at the bottom of the ladder. I won't say that coaching is at the bottom of the ladder. It's just that coaching is a very easy business to start. Not to say that it is easy to do well. Obviously, it's not. But the barriers of entry is very, very low. Why? Because as long as you understand what coaching is about, you can literally start coaching someone. Not a problem. So coaches is a very essential role at the beginning of many people's journey. But I want to address you as a coach tonight, not that you are helping your clients. I want to talk about your path of possibility. How do you transcend or ascend to the next level? So coaches typically do one-on-one. I'm not saying that coaches don't do group coaching, but coaches typically do one-on-one. So your time spent with the client is very intimate. And that means some people prefers this mode because majority of the people I know, especially coaches, typically are the nurturing type. They like to have the deep connection. They want to work with one-on-one basis. So this is how I know most coaches started on a one-on-one. But sooner or later, when you have like 20 clients coming to you, and you can't possibly schedule individual sessions with these clients. Like I have 16 clients last year, and by looking at every client just to book a session with me, my calendar is full. I can't do any other thing. So I realized that having a one-on-one relationship is great, but I must make sure I have to charge high dollars, or else it's not justifiable for me to have one-on-one. So the next thing that you have to ask yourself is when you are giving a one-on-one time with someone, are you charging high? Like that $250 for 1 hour becomes a big problem for me. Okay? So in order to leverage the time to make it more effective, efficient, we talk about the next level. The next level is what most people aspire to be at, which is the trainer. So what is training? Training is basically you have the information. And what you do, you are imparting the information to your participants. And by the virtue of training, you're not just doing one-on-one, you're doing one to a few, one to many. Because what happens is that now you can leverage the time. So imagine you are the trainer, okay? You're a trainer, and you've got a group of your participants. So it doesn't matter how big the group is. Some still prefer big groups, some prefer smaller group. It doesn't matter. So it's a group of participants. What trainers does in this process is essentially imparting information this way. Okay, so this is in short how training works. The trainer possesses information which the participants want. And what happened is that the trainer imparted this set of information he has in one direction. Doesn't mean the participants cannot ask questions, but the primary traffic is actually this way. Okay? So what's the problem of trainings then? What's the problem of training? Most people I know when they started training, they are worried about having not enough content. Okay? So Taylor said that the journey is reverse. Trainer has been my role for 13 years. Again, for organizational work thought. Okay, good. So this is like the path can be different. You can start as a trainer first. And the logical path is a coach one-on-one transcended to trainer. Some people start with trainer first. Doesn't matter to me because it is just like how many people are you dealing with at one time. So my sense of doing training, one of the biggest problem I know is the trainer is very concerned about the content. Why? Because as I said, in this context, one-way traffic to the participants, the trainer has to come up with the content. So you can see that some people typically will ask like, how the hell do I come up with the content for 8 hours? I don't know. Like I'm not enough, I'm not good enough, I'm not able to come up with 8 hours content. And some people, on the other hand, will say that, well, I have a lot of contents. What I can do is imagine I can overload my participants until they cannot consume. How many of you have seen before or have attended such training before where the trainers over deliver? By the way, that the trainer doesn't even care whether you can consume the content. Your cup is very full. And you know what the trainer does? It's still loading information. Because this is part of the guilt of the trainer. If I am not over delivering, I have not done my job. So you see, if you were to ask this question, imagine you're asking this question, who are you focusing on? Is that your participants or is that you as a trainer? So let's think about this. So if you're concerned delivering your content, who are you? Who is the center of focus? Is that you or is that you as a trainer or is that the participants? Okay. So I share with some of the people this week about this concept called facilitation, which is the next level that most of you If you are not doing this now, at some level, you want to consider being at this level called facilitator. So what's facilitation is all about? Okay, so although tonight the Facebook Live is about coaching, I want to talk about this path of possibility first. Okay, so let me just map this out. So stay tuned for those who are looking at coaching. Facilitator is a very important role. What's facilitation? Facilitation basically talks about the fact that you are the facilitator. Okay, so facilitator, you are making learning easy. So that is the word facilitation. And facilitation came from the verb facile or facile. I don't know how you can pronounce it. It's a French word. So mind me, I'm not a French. I don't speak French. So, but this is the word facile. Facile actually is about making the learning easy. By moving the path of least resistance. This is not like school, whereby the teachers give you the information and your job is to remotely, robotically memorize them. And at the end of the semester, you go for a closed book exam and you do well because you have good memory. Facilitation is not about that. Facilitation is all about the ability of the facilitator who draws the learning from the room. So imagine this is the flow. So when you are the facilitator, and now you have a group of participants. Okay? So all you're doing is no longer one-way traffic. Okay, so this is the potential path. So the facilitator asks question. Knowing how to facilitate requires you to have solid skill of asking question to elicit response. And then the participant give you the answer, and then you give them the curiosity one more time. So the participant gain clarity and reply to you. And all you do is ask another question. And by the way, it's not just this flow of traffic. Facilitator can also induce or encourage the participant to ask question and answer with each other. So the traffic can come from this way, this way, this way, this way. Because the major thing about a training versus facilitation is a facilitator is not the smartest person in the room. This is what I learned from Blessinger in 2013 when I sat for my master facilitation program. He said that the trainer has to be the smartest person in the room. That's why he's so worried about the content, his ego, his self-esteem, his ability to deliver the program. Whereas for facilitation, the heat is actually in the room, not in the facilitator's role, because the facilitator has the ability to make the learning easy by drawing the learning out of the room through a series of questioning technique, through a series of being able to debrief certain sessions, and also utilize what we call accelerated learning process, or what we call the experiential learning, to draw the experience out of the participants' uh, uh, mindset. So as a result, facilitation is a very powerful skill. So at a certain point in time, when you are a coach, when you are a trainer, I want you to consider moving to the next level called facilitator. Well, which is my path. My path started off as a trainer. My path is very similar to Tila. I started off as trainer, then I downgraded back to the coach. In 2013, I have a first taste of what facilitation is about. Until now, I'm still doing facilitation for most of the time. Like in this Facebook Live, obviously, I'm not doing facilitation because it is a one-way dialogue, so to speak. Yes, you do have the opportunity to respond to my questions and comment on the chat. So, so I want to move on to the next level. So after facilitator, what's the next level you can look for? Is your ability to learn how to do program design. PD doesn't stand for personal development in this context. Facilitator is the third level. The fourth level is is program design. So that's why tonight, the Facebook Live, I want to talk about how to create an awesome program or awesome coaching program. Because part of the deal when you become the leader is your ability to create an awesome program. The program that is highly interactive, highly engaging, and highly impactful. And when you are able to do this, you will become the true teacher and leader. So this is the path of possibility. So I'm glad that I'm moving this way. I'm on my way up. I know because I can create program very fast. I know how to facilitate, although I'm still learning. I do training, although I'm not very into training nowadays. And when necessary, I am a coach. Okay, so this is what I call the path of possibility, whereby most people will go through one way or the other. Okay, so now with that understanding, I want to talk about coaching. So there are a couple of things that happens. So I will give you the two classic definition about coaching versus consulting. Because the first thing I got a question from people who are new to coaching is what's the difference between coaching and consulting? Now, on this basis, I'm not giving you a proper definition from some people because in this respect, different people may have different definitions. All I'm sharing with you is my own experience. So disclaimer, if you do not agree with my definition, it doesn't make you right, it doesn't make me wrong, it's just different. Okay, cool? Okay, so consultant. Consulting what? What's consulting? So I've been a tax consultant for over 26 years. People came to me when they have tax problem. Okay, so I'm a tax expert. I have the expertise information. People came because they have tax problem, and therefore they are asking for tax consulting advice or tax advice. So why would clients pay me for tax advice? Number one, because consulting is expertise knowledge. It's like a piece of knowledge or an area or focus area whereby only a smaller group of people will possess. It is not an information that appeals to the public or that appears in the public. So that's the reason why for tax, for example, like if you have been doing tax for 26 years like me, I have an answer which is fast, easy, and very precise to my client. Client pay me as a result for speed and accuracy with my experience. So all this give the client an answer. So with that, that's why for consulting work, it is always top dollar. I don't compete with price. I compete with value. And I'm selecting my own clients. I don't have clients select me. I actually turn away clients because it's a premium service, premium consulting. So what I do is that I earn top dollars simply because of my years of experience with my speed, with my accuracy to get the answer. Like you can actually research the tax answer by yourself, but you need to spend the amount of time to research the tax law, know how to read the tax code, know how to interpret that, and perhaps you may not have seen a particular scenario before. So even though you know how to construct or interpret the tax code, so what? Okay, so therefore, people pay for consultant for speed, accuracy, and experience. So that's why it is top dollar. And the top dollar would give the clients something called advice. Advice, like with this piece of advice, I know how to move forward. I know what is my next step. So advice in this sense is actually an answer. So you are paying for an answer. Does that make sense? So this is consulting. That's my experience because in consulting work, I do not ask the client 4 questions, 5 questions back. I will just give the answer to client and get and build the client accordingly for the answers I give. It's very, very fast. All right, unless the problem is very complex, which may require maybe 1 week, 2 weeks to do research if I have to, or have to think about how to structure the deal or structure the transaction. Like these are the things that is pertaining to my business. But I'm not going into this tonight. It's not nothing to do with tax. So now let's move on to the other side of the coin, which is coaching. So what's coaching then? I would like to actually use a very simple metaphor that is called you as a person. Okay, so this is you. So imagine this is you. Okay, and now where you are, okay, you are in a jar. Somehow you are locked in the jar. Okay, and there's a label here, and this label reads ABC. So how many of you realize that when you are in the jar, you can't see the label? Even though you may guess it's ABC, you can't see that. That's my question. Can you see the label from when you are inside the jar? Can you see the label from inside the jar? Well, first of all, the answer is no, you can't, because you are inside the jar. So what do you do with coaching? Coaching means that you have got a coach here. Okay, so this is a coach. And what the coach is doing is to tell you the label is ABC. The label is ABC. Because you can't see inside the jar the label, what the coach does is to help you see the ABC, the label, because the coach is outside the jar. To me, that's actually the concept of coaching. Because understand something, all of us, I don't care where you are from, how many years of experience you have, there's something called blind spot. Every single one of us has blind spot. Even though you are an expert of having peripheral vision, okay, peripheral means that you can see side views like the goldfish, you will still have blind spot, because technically speaking, you can't see what happened at the back. You can feel it, but you cannot see. Your eyes is facing in front. Okay, so this scientifically, you cannot see the back. You can only feel the back. So that is blind spot. Some people actually call the blind spot as POV, or point of view. Okay, or you can call this perspective. And the reason why we are using these terms is because we are illustrating one point. You are in the jar. I was in the jar yesterday until my coach told me, hey, this is the label. Let me read it out for you. So with the understanding of this label, what is the next step? What do you do? That's it. That's what coaching is all about. Part of the series of becoming a coach, or the progress of becoming a coach, is not really about the ability to answer question. So this is the first thing I would like to say between consultant and coaches. Consultants, they are paid top dollars because they are supposed to give an answer. But for coaches, you don't necessarily have the answer. And I will say this one more time. A coach does not necessarily have the answer. But what does he have? He has this ability of seeing the label outside the jar, and he doesn't tell the client or the coachee what's the label about. What is more empowering is using a concept called asking question. So this is why we spend a lot of time in the coaching industry to learn, to experience, to practice asking questions. Okay? So the difference between consultant and a coach is a consultant is expected to have the answer, whereas for coach, I don't think a coach needs to have the answer. But a coach must have this skill called the ability to ask or redirect question. That's very important to me. And many times in law school, because of my law school training, I have the ability, the skill, the experience of knowing how to redirect the question. Some of you may have seen my Facebook Live a couple of weeks ago where I talk about the ability of asking question. It's not just to fire a question to the coachee for the sake of doing this. What the process is like is you listen to what the coachee says, So the coachee may in the process says A, B, C, D, E, F. And you, as the coach, in order for you to ask a good question, what is a good question versus a bad question? A good question is that you listen to what the coachee says and you redirect, reframe, or reposition the question in such a way using whatever ingredients provided by the coachee, throw it back to the coachee. So it's very important for you to have this listening skill because the coachee may use A, B, C, D, E, F in the conversation. And you can't ask a question. I'm not saying you can't, but it's not cool to ask a question that uses, for example, G, H, I, J, K, L. Because the coachee might think you are not listening to me. I already said it's A, B, C, D, E, F. You are not listening to me. So in order to build a rapport, one of the skill sets I believe strongly a coach has to have is the ability to ask questions. But the but is this: the but is when you ask a question back to the coachee, you do not anyhow fire this. So I repeat myself one more time. You don't anyhow fire the question to the coachee. Instead, you use whatever the coachee has said. That's why your listening skill has to be very, very good to redirect, reframe, reposition a question. What happened is this: there's something that we learn in questioning. That is my Jackism. Okay, so Alex Mendelssohn has his Aliceism. So I have my Jackism. So my Jackism for this is that good question gives you clarity. Okay, so good question gives you clarity, which is the job of a coach. On the other hand, a bad or lousy question gives you confusion. So the reason why you ask a question, by right, you want to give the clarity to the coachee. However, if you are asking a bad question or a lousy question in such a way that you are not listening to your coachee, you are just anyhow fire the question back, that actually creates confusion. Does that make sense? So it is very important for us to learn how to do that. Okay? So that's the difference between a coach and a consultant. Now, Pei at the beginning of this Facebook Live asked, we have got another distinction: coach versus mentor. Now, I am not going to say anything about mentor. I'm doing a promotion of my teacher. Okay, so this is your job. Episode 113 of All Selling Aside.com. So listen, episode 113 of All Selling Aside by my teacher Alex Mendelssohn. The definition of mentor is there. Okay, but some of you will not listen to the episode no matter what, right? So just let me give you a few tips. Okay, I know not everyone will bother listening this. Okay, so I give you my definition. A mentor is someone who has been there. So this is called experience. Who has done that, who has done what you want to do, who has experience, and he or she is still doing this. That's the classic definition of mentorship. So when you find a mentor, you're finding the person who has the experience of what you want to do. Okay, this is important. And he's still doing it. And therefore, he is able to give you what we call a learning curve shortening, a process of shortening the learning curve. You get a mentor for only one reason. If you are currently at point A, you want to move to point B, okay? In life, there's no straight line. Although on paper, I can draw a straight line. Does that make sense? What do? So the mentor said, hey, you know what? In your situation, I have seen that before, and this is what I did. So I see a mountain here. And what did I do? I said, there's no point of using some tools to dig a hole underneath or inside the mountain so that you can go to point B. All you need to do is do this. Okay, your path is just walk around the mountain and you get to point B. Because I've done this before, it is a total waste of time. So please don't do that. All you need to do is just go around the mountain and hit point B. So why do you engage a mentor or hire a mentor? You engage a mentor because you are shortening your learning curve. This is the key. Many people thought that, and I said this 2 weeks ago, whereby there's something called time versus money. Which is more important? So I still remember Arthur, not Arthur Quay, but Arthur Wong. I still remember 2 weeks ago. If you think my memory is bad, I can remember this. So I asked this question: is time and money the same? And let's see whether people have watched my Facebook Live and remember what I said 2 weeks ago. When time and money are both put on table, are they the same? Anyone can give me an answer. Anyone? Is time and money the same? Because there was an old saying that time is money. Is it true? Anyone? Okay, let me see on the other chat. Okay, so far so good. Okay. Anyone? Yes. Arthur, you still say yes. Thank you, Elsa. Arthur is no. Time and money are not the same. So the other quiz is correct. Other one, you have to watch my Facebook Live more in order to remember the answer. Thank you. So which is more important? Which is more expensive? Time. Money can always can be replaced. When you lose money, you can get it back. Money is always replaceable, but you cannot get the time back. So the reason why you get a mentor is to shorten your learning curve, save time, so that you can pursue the next task faster, easier, and more effectively. That's the whole essence of mentorship. So in that sense, does it sound similar to consultant, whereby you are getting point A to point B fast, easy, better? So in that sense, consultants and mentors are pretty much the same if you are seeing this perspective. But on the other hand, a coach, like I said at the beginning, a coach does not necessarily need to have the answer. Or let's say I have the answer. There's something that you need to remember. This is from T.R. Becker. When you see this, when you see something, you may not remember. You may forget. When I tell you something, you will not get it. But when you experience this yourself, and you have the aha or take away what happened, then you will totally understand. So this is why even for coaching, I have the answer. I don't like to give the answer, this is the answer. I don't want to be a consultant. Why? For a coach, what happens is this: when I am able to ask a brilliant question that gives the coachee clarity, and the coachee said, I get this. And the coachee said, now I know what to do and experience. So I finally totally understand what's going on. Is that more empowering? So in my opinion, again from my experience also, that even though as a coach I may have the answer, I will not give the answer just like that. I could reframe the question to let the person, the coachee, get the answer by himself or herself. And that to me is a lot more powerful, which is the reason why when I first started mentioning in the Facebook Live this path of possibility, how many of you realize that this is very similar to facilitation, whereby your job is to give the power or the awareness or the understanding to the participants and let them get the answer, let them experience that. Experience is the only teacher. It's not even the best teacher. So same thing for coaching. You let the coachee get it by experiencing that. So when you guide your coachee to do something and they get it, it's not because they have been told by you this is the way to do things. It is simply because They have followed your guidance. They know how to take the next step, and they have done it, and they have experience by going through the process called learning and doing. You can't learn something by learning it. You have to learn something by also doing it. When you have learning and doing happen together, you have experience. And then with the experience, you can now know what is your next step. So if the experience is not what you expect, then you will change strategy and do it again and see what's different. If the experience is what you have gotten is in line with your expectation, now you can move on to the next step, which is why experience is so important. So the whole theme of this week in my virtual event hero, in my stage closure heroes, I talk about the fact that you have to have given your clients, whether it's coachee, participants, the ability to experience something. When you are able to, you are a teacher, you are the leader, because you are able to empower. You are able to empower your students, or mentees, or coachee, whichever name you call this. Okay, so I've spent quite a fair bit of time talking about coaches versus mentors, coaches versus consultants. I've also shown you the path of possibility between coaching, from coaching to training to facilitation to program design, and ultimately you are the real teachers and leaders. Okay, so now, why is coaching important? Well, the thing is this. Like I said, I've already said one time, I'll say it one more time. All of us has blind spot. So here's one clue you may want to check out. When someone says he or she is a coach, now I'm not here making any offensive statement to some of you. I don't know your situation. I'm just giving you my perspective. Now understand something. When you are a coach, okay, you're coaching your coachee. Your coachee could well be asking you this question: are you being coached by someone? So you, as a coach, you may be also a coachee of another coach. So beware of this question from someone. A coach always have a coach. In other words, when you are coaching someone, you are a coach. At the same time, you could well be also a coachee of another coach. Why? Because you have blind spot, your coachee has blind spot. Even my teacher is also being coached by other coaches. It doesn't mean that the coach here is more profitable, richer in terms of wealth than you as a coach. Like I said, remember this: it's always about blind spot. It's always about different perspective. So the fact that you are, let's say your coach may not be as rich as you financially, or may not be as successful as you financially, it doesn't make him or her not qualified as your coach. I do know in the industry, some people are very, very stubborn about this. That is, you may want to be coached by someone who is more successful than you. So just remember this term. If you think that this is a criterion for you, then it means that you will be looking for coaches like a mentor, like a consultant. I'm just purely talking about the blind spot, because I do know in this industry, some people are coached not because they are richer than other people, not because they are financially successful than other people. However, this is just something that I heard in the industry. So I want you to feel good, or at least don't feel disappointed, or I must be very successful, rich financially in order to qualify as a coach. I don't think you should think about this way. Because if you think this way, then you will notice that your coaching journey will be very difficult. Because you know the top of the ladder principle, right? When you're at the bottom of the ladder, there are so many people more successful than you. When you are already here, somewhere here, and you're looking for those like 8 figures, 9 figures, pay 25,000, 30,000, or even $100,000 a year to coach you. I'm not saying that is always the case. I do know some people are going for that path, but I just want to make sure that my coaching definition is to help your coachee to see the blind spot, to identify a blind spot. which means that as a coach yourself, you have your own blind spot. Your coach here who can help you is to help you identify the blind spot, and that's all. Done. Let's not get so critical about who is to be more successful or who should be more financially wealthier. I'm not making that comparison, because if I were to do that, then most people would not be qualified as coach. Understand? So this is my take. So Kenneth asked a question: do you mean that a coach must have a coach to be a coach? And the answer is yes. Answer is a yes, because your coachee will ask you this question: are you being coached by someone? And understand something: if you are not having a coach right now, like my one of my coaches earlier in my journey, Pete Tan, I think Pete actually said this. He said, if you are a coach but you're not coached by someone, that means you don't believe in coaching. If you are not believing in coaching, what makes you decide to be a coach? So in the journey, like Kenneth, this question is a very good question. You always, always, always have someone coach you. I don't care whether you're paying the coach or not, but you need to have someone as your coach. Or some people will say that you may have multiple coaches or many coaches. All right, so this is my take. So why is this important? It's because every single one of us, whether you're watching now or watching a replay, hashtag replay, remember, we all have blind spots. Okay? And when you have the epiphany as a coachee, because your coach has done an awesome job to give you the awareness, you will get it and you experience that. And you will now know what is the next step. That's all about coaching. So now next question. How do you design a freaking awesome coaching program? So now we talk about coaching program. Okay? So this is another question that is frequently asked by people, because in the industry, we have got coaching like life coaching. We have got executive coaching. Okay, executive coaching. We have got business coaching. We have got NLP coaching. We have got what else? We have got what other sports coaching. Okay, this is industry based, specific industry based. So there are so many categories here and there. Okay, I just want you to understand that I don't care what kind of coaching you do, the principles, the fundamentals remain the same. That is, you must have a program. Okay, so it doesn't matter what you do, you must have a program. You can't just like, okay, today I'm happy to see you, my coachee, and what is your question? And I give you more questions. And what is your next question? Let me give you more questions. Your coaching can't be just a Q&A. If that's the case, then it defeats the purpose of coaching, because you must have a program. What is a program, by the way? A program is actually a framework. It's a framework, okay? And it has to have something called a proven model. It means that it's not just something that you come out, just pull out from your ass and say that this is a framework. It has to work. It cannot be your idea and use your coaching as a guinea pig. Let me see if this theory works. Okay, so your coaching model, your program has to be a proven model. It means that it has helped other people to be successful before. It has proven result, track record. You can't anyhow come up with a program and hope that someone will enroll and you treat that person a guinea pig. Unless you say upfront, this is my new program. I would like Winnie to experience this program. I'm not going to charge you. However, at the end, if the program really works and you get the results, would you be kind enough to give me a testimonial? So if that is the basis to get a coaching client, I'm okay. But if you are charging money to someone and use someone as a guinea pig, then I will run away. I'll be the first one to run away. So your model has to be a proven model. It works. It works. It means that you have worked with other people, other clients, other students, other coaches, and they have the results. This is very important. The next aspect is this. What do you promise of this coaching program? So like Gerald actually on the Facebook, he said that it's a process to help someone to get from where you are, which is point A, to where you want to be. Okay, so typically in the market, this is how a coaching program works. You will get your client to tell you, you know what, Mr. Client, what do you want in the next 12 months? Okay, this is what you want, right? So I want to have a house, I want to have a dog, I want to go to the beach every day, I want to do internet marketing on the beach, I want to travel around the world, I want to have a private jet, all sorts of things. So this kind of coaching program, we call this point B focus. Point B focus. What's the problem of a point B focus coaching? I want to get a dog, I want to travel around the world, I want to do internet marketing at the beach, I want to spend time with family, etc., etc., etc. What's the problem of point B? It sounds good, it is cool, it is nice, and in fact, a lot of coaching programs are like that. Say, I can promise you until the cow comes home. This is what we call ROI. What's the problem of ROI? I don't even know what I eat tomorrow morning, let alone what happened in 12 months' time. While you have already set the scene 12 months down the road that you want to travel around the world, well, let's face it, do you have any cash in your bank right now? Like, have you been able to travel just like from Singapore to Malaysia, which is quite cheap, right? Can you do that? So if you are not even there, let's talk about like what's the point of talking about traveling around the world when you're not even started the journey, right? So dream, like what Henry said, dream, or charge the pilot session rate. Yep, you can do that. What I'm saying is that, and you want to charge top dollars, your program has to be a proven model. It's a framework with proven model, proven track record, and proven success. You can't anyhow put a pilot program out and say that guinea pig, please come to me. You'll be my guinea pig. Okay. I don't know. I don't know in Asia. So Delia, I don't know in Asia whether people will buy this. In Asia, the mindset is very different. The Asian mindset is that if it's not proven, I won't even pay for it, let alone pilot rate. I don't know whether it is the case in the United States. In Asia, people are like that. It's very, very hard to have even a pilot rate. People will just not appreciate that at all. Okay, that is the culture of Asia. All right, so coming back. So what's the problem of point B coaching? Well, you can promise your all cows, all rabbits, all animals go home, no problem. But then the thing is you don't even know where you are right now. Okay, so yes, so the pilot in the framework, I need to understand where the point A is. Okay, so like Gerald's question is that it is a process for you to know where you are to where you want to be. So yes, that is a path. So typically, a coaching program is designed by establishing the goals. At the end of the coaching program, what is your outcome? But question is this. Let me give you an example here. This is what the coachee says. This is my point B. Okay? But is this point B realistic? I'm not even talking about the SMART goal yet. I'm just talking about, is that realistic? Like within this framework, the time taken, is that realistic to start with? Like I can promise you to make $1 million. Well, I don't define the time, and every single one of us can make $1 million. Not a problem in our life. It's a matter of time, right? Even though you're an employee, you will still be able to make $1 million when you live over 60 years old. It is possible. So I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the fact that when your coachee gives you this goal, is that realistic? And the only answer of being realistic, it can be reviewed by knowing where the person stands. If the person has not even made $1 right now, how can the coachee say, I want to make $1 million in 12 months? It sounds a bit too much, right? So the person hasn't even made $1 yet, and the coachee wants to make $1 million in 12 months. Not to say it's not possible, it is tough. But if the person has been making $500,000 as point A, to make $1 million can be just a month's time. You see, the point A determination is so bloodily important. It's like the point B can be a dream, but the point A becomes the most important part. So I like the fact that you want to design a program to focus on point A. Some of you know Alice has a very favorite term. Instead of going for ROI, which is not guarantee, there's no way you can guarantee an ROI because you can't dictate or control whether your coach is doing the work. You can't. You can hold the coachee accountable, yet the coachee can still find ways to sneak out and not do the work, or say to you he has done the work, but it's half-hearted. So the thing is that ROI sounds good. Most people like ROI. For investing $1, I can make 4. Awesome. But in the first place, have you even made your first dollar? If you are not, then how the hell do you make $4 right now? It's a bit tough, not realistic. That's why I like to use the word realistic. You want to look at point A, which is your current problem, current point. You want to design a program that helps your client, number one, establish the point A right now. And knowing the fact that this A depends on what types of coaching are we talking about. One thing that you want to do is what I call the holistic coaching. What is holistic? Holistic means that you have got business development, you have got your personal development, you've got the skills, okay? You have something I would call this your business personal skill. It could be system, okay? So everything surround your professional life, your business life, and your personal life. So it's the professional, personal, and business life. So I like this kind of what I call the holistic program, because understand something. Like for example, we always say that when you have a mindset issue, which is 80%, no matter what skills you have, no matter what business acumen you have, but your mindset is not ready for that. The B do have some of you may have remember I talked about B do have many months, probably a few months ago. So in order to be the person you want to be, what must you do? So if your mindset is I'm not ready to be that person, how the hell do you pick up the skills, business acumen, etc., etc.? So when you design a program, I always fall back on what Robert Kiyosaki and Blair says, which they are trained by Marshall Turber, Money and You. This is what they said. You must make sure that you have the personal development and the business development together. Even for a business coaching program, which might seem to be like business centric and business focused, you still have to come up with the personal development part. Because without the personal development part, we are just talking about skills. Having the skills doesn't mean you will get the result. Like how many of you realize that you may have, or you already have the skills of closing sales? The moment you have the skills of closing sales, but why is this the case? Why is it the case that not everyone can close? Well, the only ultimate answer is some of them don't see themselves as closers. So if you don't see yourself as closers, then what happened? You become the losers. Because it's just one C in front, a losers can become a closers. And if you do not see yourself as a closer, then you just lose the game. That's it. Very simple to say. So when you design your program, you need to take care of both the personal development and the business development. Working on the mindset, working on the skill set, working on the system. Especially for business, skill is one thing. You also have to understand that nowadays with data, you need to make informed decision based on numbers, data, not anyhow using your gut to make that decision. Okay? Data, for example, like do you know your client's buying preference? Do you understand where they hang out? Do you understand or did you know what have they bought previously? Have you got a CRM system, a customer's relationship management system that generate these numbers so that you know what is the next campaign? Big companies actually spend a lot of money to invest in CRM. I'm not saying that you have to, but all I'm saying is that it is better than not having numbers on hand. Okay, so I like to always give these statistics of my current Facebook group. On my current Facebook group, there are altogether 25% of the people who make the decision by doing logical analysis. There are 19% of my people in my Facebook group who are always asking for discount and budget. And the rest are people who are buy based on lifetime opportunity, lifetime, based on scarcity. Like if you are using the closing skill score, lifetime opportunity, urgency, scarcity, or it is a movement, but more than half of my group would say yes. I have the data. So 25% of the people in my Facebook group have to make a logical decision. 90% of the people in my Facebook group make the logical decision by looking at budget. The 46% of my people in my Facebook group are making their decision emotionally. It can be fast, it can be slow, but they are making the decision emotionally. Do you have such number in your Facebook group as an example? I have my numbers. Why? Because I track. This is what I know about the powerful coaching program. That you have to have personal development. You have to have business development. You have to have imparting the skills. You have to have systems. You have to have the ability to come up with the numbers if it is for business. How about the mindset? You have to have a lot of this in order to create this awesome program. So the next question is this, Jack, it sounds good to me, but how the hell do I come up with this program? Because I don't have experience. I don't know what to do. Like if you give me a time, say 6 months, yes, I will come up with this program. I probably will, like Delia says, pilot it and see whether people will be my guinea pig, test drive and see whether it works or not. But what if it doesn't work? Oh, then I'll have to spend another 6 months in order to come up with the version 2 and see what happens. Okay, so this is why, apart from the fact that you have a program design issue, because program has to be holistic. Because the holistic program focus other than those specific areas, it also gives you a point A focus. What is point A focus again? That is where you are right now. So coming back to these areas that I mentioned, in terms of mindset, are you ready for the next move? Do you have what in terms of skill set? What are the skills do you have? In terms of the systems in your business, do you have any systems? In terms of data, are you running any data in your business? Do you know how to generate this data in the first place? And some of you keep asking me, like, I have also got sales problem. Where the hell do I get leads? Okay, I got you. Okay, so the thing is that you need to know where you are right now. So if you're asking me where you are right now, that means it is point A focused. Your program has to be point A focused. Okay, and what you do is before the client came to you, so let's think about assuming you're running this coaching program, you know your client has the point A now. So in terms of, let's say, the six particular perspectives. So let's just make it simple, 6 perspective. So I know that my current 6 areas, if I were to give a rating myself, is 4, 3, 4, 5, 4, 4. Okay, so this is my rating for the 6 areas in the coaching program, whereby this is my current status based on whatever you ask me to do. Okay, I got you. And what you do next is you are doing something called accountability. So you see that the power of coaching is, number 1, you are not just helping your coachee to get clarity by asking questions. Let them experience something and they will say, oh my God, I got this, now I have the experience. And in this process of providing clarity, you are also making sure that they will do the work. Now, who decide whether they do the work? Is that you as a coach, or is that the coachee? So in a coaching arrangement, typically the coachee will say, okay, in this week, I'm going to do this, do this, do this, do this, do this. And all you do as a coach is just to hold the coachee accountable. Have you done this? Have you done this? Have you done this? Don't ask for reason. I am only concerned the result. Do you want reason or do you want result? Okay, result, done, good. Next week, Follow the process again, again, again. And next week, again, again, again. So why do we do this? Because when you hold the coachee accountable, there is a sense of responsibility on the part of the coachee. Okay, shit, I need to do this because I cannot let my coach to be disappointed. How many of you have heard okay, how many of you have heard of this statement? You're willing to do more for other people than to yourself. That's why the power of accountability is you don't want to disappoint your coach. As a result, you do it. At the same time, imagine you don't have a coach and you said to yourself, I will be holding myself accountable. I just had this conversation in the afternoon with someone, very high self-motivated person. And she told me, if I don't have an accountability partner, I will have that moment of time to give myself excuses. A highly motivated person told me this today, that without accountability, she will shortcut or shortchange herself. That is typical. Like last night when I was with Alex, I was telling Alex that I go to gym every single day, 7 a.m. And the reason why I do this is that I don't want, you see, I use the word I don't want to disappoint my students, because I stand for I walk the talk. When I'm giving you what I know and what I do in real life, I can always provide you with my real life example. So if I say to you that I'm a guy with high discipline, at the moment I don't have this thing called discipline in my physical fitness, how many of you will see me as a person not walking the talk? And that's why going to the gym every day is not because I want to have the fitness only. Yes, it is part of the deal. I'm using this as an example to prove to you that I'm a person who walk my talk. And how do you know I actually go to the gym? Go to my IG personal story every single day. You see how many kilos I've run. And that day, the particular day is always printed on IG story. Like I said, you cannot force or create something. Like today is Sunday, you see my IG story for Sunday. I cannot use Sunday of last week to pretend that I've run today. You can't do that. IG doesn't allow you to do that. When I'm teaching people, I'm not qualified. When I'm sharing people my TikTok story, today I've got my 400 followers. Some of you look at that, it's great, congratulations. I'm not qualified because compared with other TikTok followers or TikTokers, like they have 5 digits followers, I'm only 400. But just bear in mind this, I'm a student. I run my TikTok account not for dancing, not for all these comedian videos. That's why my followers are like that. I'm just proving the point again that I show you what I do so that you can see, okay, if you were to do what I do, perhaps you will expect this kind of results. Done. So I'm very inspired by the fact that some TikTokers, like last week, we have got 3 TikTokers who watched my Facebook Live 2 weeks ago and they hit the first 5-digit video counts. Where the hell do they get that? It's because they believe themselves they can do it. So for me, because I'm the guy who stand by my rules, discipline, habit, I'm using social media and fitness as the example. So now I'm qualified to teach you what is habit, what is discipline, because this is what I've been doing. I've been doing my social media for the last 3 years without single failure every day to have at least 30 posts. So that's me. So I'm being watched by a lot of people on this term called responsibility too. So coming back, I digress so much. Let me come back. So coming back, the reason why this coaching program is so powerful is because now the coachee said, I'm willing to do more because I don't want to disappoint my coach. Because I promised my coach that I'm going to do this, so I better do that. Or else my coach will not be happy. Okay, so you're willing to do more for other people than doing for yourself. That's why number 1, you would give yourself a rating at point A. So after 6 weeks, for example, what's next? After 6 weeks, then you would do a rating again of your 6 areas. And your 6 areas, you will see by working each area with the program accountability, perhaps you will see 6, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then 5. So you should see improvement, because if there's no improvement, something is wrong in this process. So now with this set of numbers, what's happening? So we say that this is originally 6 weeks ago, this is your point A. After 6 weeks, this becomes your point A1. It's still point A. Okay, this is point A1, which is 6 weeks after point A. So you again look at point A, focus. You never look at point B as a focus. Point B is a good way, it's a good direction to go. You still want to know where you're heading, but in the process, although you think your point B is the destination, perhaps by moving to point A2, point A3, you realize that point A4, point A5, point A6, you're heading to point C. That's why when you have a coaching program that is point B focused, you may think that this is the right direction. Yet, by focusing on point A, you may eventually notice that point C is the point of destination, not point B. That's why for a coaching program, you need to create what I call a holistic. In order for an awesome program, I call it freaking awesome program, you need to be holistic. I don't care whether it's a life coach, business coach, executive coach, you need to measure personal development and business development. This is very important. Okay, that's number one. Number two, your coaching program has to be point A focus. If you are not able to meet these two definitions that I know, then your coaching program may have some issue. When I say the issue, it means that you may promise your coachee certain things because you are talking about ROI. And what if the coachee does not do the work and come back to you and say, hey, you promised me all this ROI, it didn't happen. Refund me the money. And then what do you say? Are you going to blame the coachee and say, in the first place, because you didn't do the work, of course, I cannot guarantee this. And then your coachee will say, but this is what you pay, this is what I pay you. This is what I pay you for. So you see there is a dispute because it's just basically based on point B. So I don't want you to look at point B. So Henry a while ago, he put out something called COI. What is COI? So if you've been following Alex Mendosian's work, COI is cost of inaction. So when a coachee comes to you and he's going to pay you, it's not a cost. So to him, it is actually something called investment. So remember this concept. When you are offering a coaching program, always help your coachee to understand that this is an investment, not a cost. Because if it is a cost, this becomes an expense. So the mindset says, oh, it is an expense, that means I will never get it back. Because expense by nature is an outflow of cash. It means that I don't see it back. However, if it's opportunity, it is an investment. So you have put $1, I'm working on getting something back. So this is very important mindset, the difference between expense and investment. So this is something when you are offering your coaching program, you need to be absolutely clear with the distinction between expense on one hand and investment on the other hand. But that's not the investment that, like the marketer says, I invest $1 hoping to get back 4. That's not what I'm talking about. Let me explain how cost of inaction works. So cost of inaction is currently your point A. Again, see, I'm talking about point A. So let's, for example, at this point in time, if I were to use a very simple example, like how much are you making right now? Okay, so the coachee said, I'm currently making $500 a month. Okay, so $500 a month means what? $6,000 a year. Awesome. So let's talk about it. Let's just pretend there's a point B that happens 12 months down the road. So what do you expect to make in 12 months down the road? Yes, I want to make $50,000. Wow. So you see the problem is this. You are making $500 now. Is it possible and realistic to make $50,000 in 12 months' time? A bit difficult, right? Because we talk about how much, what is like how many, like 100 times. Okay, so a bit not realistic. So what if I'm saying that, well, would it make sense if you are able to do this in such a way that you are able to make, say, I will give you a conservative number, 3,000, which is 6x. Okay, 6x. Okay, and then $3,000 a month. Well, it's still doable, but look at a year. How much is a year? A year will be 3,000 times 12, which is $36,000. Okay, good. Okay, so now pay attention to this. If this is 36,000, this is what realistically you can make, or you may make in 12 months. You're currently making $6,000 a year. So if you do nothing right now, what is your cost? If you do nothing right now, what is your cost per year? So notice the concept. What is the cost per year? What is the cost of inaction per year? Your cost of inaction is $30,000. That's it. That's the cost of inaction per year, 30,000. Is that a large sum? Is that a small sum? Of course, it depends on individual situation. But let's talk about this. $30,000 a year. So if you do nothing, that's your cost. Because this is what you told me. It's not a number I make up. It's you told me 30K based on the maths. Okay? Next, let's talk about this. Why are you not making $36,000 right now? Why are you? What are the roadblocks that prevents you, that stops you from making $36,000 right now? Since you know this is the cost of inaction, so why are you not doing this? And then the coaching might say because of this and that, this and that, this and that. It's like he would give you thousands of reasons why he's not making that $36,000 right now. Good. So you mean that is you are lacking all this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So what are you going to do? And at this point, the coaching might freeze because honestly I don't know what to do. I had no idea, because if I have an idea, I would have done it myself. The reason why I'm coming to you to seek help is because I don't know. I know I need all this, but I don't know what to do, how to do next. Okay, so what you're then saying is this. This is where you're throwing the investment. Okay, so what happened is, in order to prevent $30,000 as your cost of inaction, imagine you are able to spend a fraction as an investment. So you see the concept is investment. Spend a fraction of this amount as an investment. And your objective is to make back this 30K so that it becomes not a cost of inaction. If you were to spend $1,500, just an example, $1,500 as an investment today, and within 1 month or 2 months or maybe 3 months, you are able to get back or to remove this cost of inaction, would that be something you want to do? So therefore, the cost of inaction is a huge amount to the coachee right now. And all you're saying is that if you don't do this, this is your cost per year. And you want to play with the coachee. Sometimes I'm a bit nasty too. It's like, how many more years do you have? Do you live? Do you think you will live? 20 years? Oh my God, that's like $600,000. It must be a very big sum. I just begin to wonder what you're going to do when you see that you cannot make $600,000 by not doing anything today. It's like paying, right? Okay, to some people it might be paying, but some people will see this very painful. And when it comes to painful, they will do something. So now what you do is that, what if I can help you to remove this $30,000 cost of inaction by helping you, by serving you, by working with you to come up with something, which is the coaching program, and you need to invest a small sum of this 30K. So now you don't see this 30K as a cost of inaction. Would that be something you want to see? Would that be something that you're interested? So this is where the no-brainer concept comes. This is where the no-brainer will say, yes, it makes sense. Of course, there are some other factors you need to consider. Like in Banco, we say there are still various factors for you to close the sales. All I'm saying is that this is a major roadblock for the client to say yes. But this roadblock is now being removed. It makes your closing slightly easier. than before. Because remember, when you promise ROI, it is no guarantee. It is hard. Okay, so this is what I say. So sum up in this Facebook Live, you see that I likely, like when I say 1 hour, it becomes a 1 hour 30-minute thing. Okay, so in this segment, what I want to sum up again is that you need to have a coaching program that has a framework. Okay, that has a framework. Anything you do cannot not have a framework. You must have a framework so that there's a big picture that I can see. Okay, and this framework, when you create the model, it is approved on a proven model. Okay, so this is what I call awesome, freaking awesome coaching program. And your program, regardless of whether it is for business, for personal, or whatever, do your best to come up with your personal development and your business development aspect. Make this a holistic. If it is a holistic program, it is even better. Okay, and then all you do is to have point A focus. Point A focus, looking at something called COI, cost of inaction, not point B, which is called ROI. Like, this is not something I prefer, because I currently run coaching program on point A focus, by the way, in case you're not aware. That's why I'm a big fan of point A. Okay, so when you have these elements, then it becomes easy, because now the coachee will see there is progress. Not the promised land, but progress. The reason why there's progress is because now you are guiding the coachee by holding the coachee accountable, by giving the coachee clarity, so that the coachee is able to now move forward progressively and begin to see results, so that the coachee says, wow, I see results, I have the experience. When I have a taste of experience like this, that means it's success. Success breeds success. That allows and motivates the person to do more. That's the whole deal. So the client would say, thank you for helping me, and I just want to continue, because after 6 weeks, after 12 weeks, whatever period you have, I'm now in point A1. I want to move to point A2. Would I be able to run another round to go through this so that I will be in point A2? And if the client is very happy with you, point A3, point A4, you see, that's how you get a client in long term. Back to the very simple formula J. Abraham says, in order to raise your coaching revenue, and for that is a business revenue, you can do 3 things. Number 1 is to increase your leads, get more leads. Number 2, it is to raise the deal value, right? And number 3 is the frequency. My question for you is this: is it harder to get a new client on board, or you have already existing client working with, and the client is just buying from you again, and again? You know the deal, all right? So my point is that work on this model, A1, A2, A3, A4. You could have a client that will work for you for a long time. And when you are in demand, you will say to these clients, you know what, I'm so sorry to say that the good news is that I still love to work with you. The bad news is this: I only have that limited amount of time, and the only reason why I want to work with you is that I still love you. And as a result, I had no choice, but I need to do this. I need to raise the price. And in order for me to give you a good deal, if you say yes, I can still honor, like, you can do a lot of all these things that J. Abraham taught. Like, if you're familiar with J. Abraham's work, this is what he would do. You can apply this in your coaching business. And that's how you can increase your coaching revenue. I don't want you to be those who are making $250 an hour. Because understand something, when you are charging based on hour, okay, you are an employee. Employee trades time for money. When you are charging based on the hourly rate, it's no different from you as a professional. Like back in the good old days, I'm charged based on per hour basis in PwC, in Baker McKenzie. It sucks, because if you work hard, you get more, but it's always the fraction of the numbers of hours you put in. That's why I don't like this thing called charge out rate. I'm so happy when I left the corporate world, I don't need to submit timesheet anymore. I used to do timesheet for 17 years, And I'm so happy that I have not done a piece of timesheets since 2011, so 9 years already. So if you are still thinking of charging based on hours, I want you to remove that. Because if you are still having that mindset, you are still employee. You can't scale, you cannot grow. So this is key. Number two, think about the value. How do you give the value proposition to your coachee, your potential clients? And the one powerful way of doing this is to understand truly the concept of cost of investment. Point A focus. So when you are able to create a coaching program on these premises, your program will be freaking awesome. Okay? So I know that it's 1 hour and 30 minutes tonight. So thank you for watching. I want to acknowledge those who are watching, still watching live, 29 people, 29 of you. So if you are watching live, thank you very much for support of my weekly service, 9 o'clock Sunday night. It is my community service to all my followers on my Facebook. So I appreciate you. I appreciate your staying back on this Facebook Live. And for those who are actually watching replay, I want you to do something. Hashtag replay so that I know you're watching the replay. And no matter whether watching live or replay, I want you to do one thing. Share with me. Don't say that this Facebook Live is good, it sucks or whatever, because that's too boring. I want you to share with me what is the one biggest takeaway you have gained from this session. Thank you, Sean. Thank you, Keens. Thank you, Uli. Thank you, Henry. Thank you so much. So share with me one biggest takeaway you have gotten from this session. All right. So with that, Jack Wong signing off here. My weekly community service for everybody. And if you have other questions around this topic, feel free to comment below, and I will take some time to answer these questions tomorrow. So it's time for me to go to bed. It's late. I'm a morning glory, so I'm going back after this. So I acknowledge and engage with all of you tomorrow when I wake up, and I will see you in another Facebook Live, 9 p.m. Sunday night. And the topic will be announced on Sunday morning or maybe mid-afternoon. All right. So with that, thank you very much, and all good wishes, and signing off now. Bye-bye.